Hi, I'm Dr. Elaine Ducharme. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Glastonbury, Connecticut, but I'm also a mental health coach that works with a process called collaborative divorce. It is a really interesting technique that allows families to divorce in a way that is with dignity, keeps everyone out of court, and is in the children's best interest. So I'd like to have a few minutes to talk to you about some things that you might be feeling during the holiday season and ways that you can help you and your family get through it in a healthy way. First of all, it's really important to recognize that there are a lot of challenges after a divorce. Your finances may be different, your housing may be different. So it's going to be important that you acknowledge these challenges and hopefully have prepared for them before the holiday season is upon us. Most people, when they're going through a divorce, develop a parenting plan, and they take into consideration the kinds of things that I'm going to talk to you about today. So the first one is planning ahead. If you have a parenting plan, hopefully you've thought through what are the important things for you to deal with. You may be getting divorced and feeling that you're a pretty healthy couple and you can get along well, and there are some families that actually do celebrate holidays together. They have parents in the same house while young children are opening gifts. They might even gather for Thanksgiving together with families and other relatives. But the reality is that's probably not for most families. And if there's any chance of conflict, I really want you to think about just doing your own celebration. Children can actually manage divorce pretty well. What they can't manage is ongoing conflict with their parents. So if they're feeling the tension in the room, it's not going to be a very healthy holiday season for anybody. Secondly, one of the things that you might want to do is make sure that the kids have some input in the kinds of things that are appropriate for kids to have input on. Not necessarily how much money you're going to spend on any gifts, but maybe certain things like traditions. What's really important to them? So if every year of their life they've had Christmas Eve at, say, a maternal grandparent's house and all the cousins gather there and it's a particularly wonderful and special evening, hopefully as parents that are now co-parenting, you may be able to continue that tradition while the other parent develops new traditions, perhaps on Christmas morning or Christmas Day, or maybe even a couple of days later. It's kind of interesting, especially for young children. Christmas doesn't have to be December 25th. They really aren't aware of that date. So when they're really young, you can do that celebration on another day. When they're older, not too many older kids object to having two really special days where they get lots of presents. So keep that in mind. The other things that you can ask them about that they can have their input on is just other traditions. So particular foods, things that you've done together, baking together. But as you then use some of those old traditions, try and add in some new things. It might be that when you've got the kids that you do things such as watch a particular movie every year and have popcorn and particular snacks that become a new and fun tradition. Or perhaps you and the kids go somewhere special. You go in and see a theater show, in the city. Any kind of different things can be helpful. The next piece of advice I'd like to give you is to think about helping your children buy a gift for the other parent. That's really important. Young kids, clearly most of them can't drive and they don't have their own money. If you want to really do a good job co-parenting, recognize that your children want to do something for their other parent. It really makes them feel good to have something to give to the other parent. And it says to the other parent that even though you're divorced, you're working together to keep this family as healthy as possible. Don't try and buy their affection. It's not about the presents, not about material presents. It's actually about the family presence and being together. You really can't just, make a competition out of buying the more expensive gift. The kids will get it, and it really isn't healthy. So perhaps you can be sure to share the Christmas list that the kids come up with, and then look at it and decide on some of the higher priced items. Do you want to go in together? Or do you each want to go in on, buy your own individual gift and then have some small gifts from Santa? You can do it in many, many different ways, but if you can do it in a way that puts the kids' best interest first, you're not going to duplicate gifts and you're going to be celebrating and feeling good on Christmas, and your kids are going to be happier. Lastly, I want to have you make sure that you think about what it's going to be like for you on that holiday if it's the first time being alone without your children. You may have spent years as a family doing things in a particular way. And when you realize that Christmas morning is going to come and you're not going to be with your family or your children, you're going to have to recognize that you may feel sad, you're going to feel alone, But if you do some planning ahead, you're going to get through it. You might decide, well, okay, I will use this day to just be quiet and read a book. Or maybe I need to be around people that I love and that love me. Remember, it will get better. Time does help heal. And in fact, very often, although things are changing, different can be better and have even more wonderful traditions. I hope that you and your family can have a peaceful, happy, and healthy holiday season.